During the late 1800s, when the US was starting its period of industrialization, it was common for factory owners to hire children over adults since they were paid lower wages. This left thousands of adults both enraged and unemployed. Between the 1840s and 1880s, a huge wave of immigrants settled in America. It was also during this time that transcendentalist thinkers, such as Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, started to plant the ideas under which alternative schools would flourish. Transcendentalist thinkers believed firmly in individualism, in limitless potential, and in thinking for yourself and not letting anything but yourself define who you are. Throughout the last quarter of the 19th century, industries multiplied like never before, opening jobs for the thousands of immigrants they had established in America. By 1900, traditional schools had become the common practice, and only 18% of all American workers were under the age of 16. It was also during this time that many alternate forms of education were established. Maria Montessori opened her first school for children in 1907. Her teaching method, that would later spread worldwide, consisted of endorsing initiative and responsiveness in children through the diversification of labor and a copious amount of freedom. Ralph Waldorf opened his first Waldorf school in 1919. The goal of his schools was to develop free, morally responsible, integrated individuals equipped with a high degree of social competence. He achieved this by fostering both analytical and creative methods of understanding, by stressing the role of imagination in learning, and by encouraging idealism. In 1918, public school was made compulsory at a national level. Schools had three sole purposes that can be summarized in one: feeding the needs of an era of industrialization. Schools kept children out of factories so adults could work. They installed a sense of citizenship in children, which would unify a country of immigrants, and they created obedient, productive, interchangeable workers, which would sustain a good economy. In the 1960s, alternative schooling systems boomed into a social movement. Between 1967 and 1972, over 500 alternate schools were founded. This was mainly due to student demonstrations, teacher strikes, and a deep questioning of traditional assumptions becoming increasingly popular within the public. During this time, many writers such as Paul Goodman, John Holt, Jonathan Kosel, Herbert Cole, James Hernon, and Ivan Illich wrote books criticizing the public system of education. They believed that schools were killing individuals to create masses of people who had been taught to repress their own dreams in order to help others build their own. Throughout the 80s, the clamor alternative schools started in the 70s began to die down. Legislative activity during the 90s was centered on raising academic standards and holding schools accountable for student performance. Legislative activity during the 90s planted the building blocks for a culture of standardization. In 2001, President Bush signed the No Child Left Behind Act, an act that required states to begin testing students annually in grades 3 to 8 in reading and mathematics. It also required a sample of 4th and 8th graders in each state to participate in the National Assessment of Educational Progress Testing Program in reading and math every other year to provide a point of comparison for state results. In 2003, an opinion poll declared that nearly half of school principals and superintendents viewed the federal legislation as either politically motivated or aimed at undermining public schools. Likewise, a study policy analysis for California suggested that because of its requirement to evaluate school progress on basis of demographic subgroups, the law might disproportionately penalize schools with diverse student populations. The American system of public education has gone a long way, and it has never before looked so well. We have a broader spectrum of classes, more technology being implemented in classrooms, and a greater diversity of teaching styles. Sure, there might be a thing or two, or 100, that need to be updated, but the truth is that schools are undergoing more changes than ever before. Public education has gone through many improvements, and it will continue to do so at a faster pace.